We continue this afternoon's press conference. We have goalkeeper Matt Freese. If you have any questions, please raise your hand. We'll go with Arthur.
How was the week getting back into New York City after being with the national team and then being able to play in the game on Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's a quick adjustment back to things here, and um, felt good to be back with the guys. Very comfortable, obviously, getting back in there. The staff handled it really well. Gave me, a good transition period to make sure I get the legs back under me and make sure I'm healthy leading into the game, and then just normal game day preparations. It was obviously a unique summer for me, but I think it's important for me to continue just doing what I've been doing for the last 2 years in terms of preparation.
Going to the U.S. camp and your experience with the U.S. national team and being #1 for the entire tournament, can you tell us how that was, and then also what conversations you might have had with Mauricio after the tournament about where you stand and what the goalie situation is going to be going forward as we're a year out of the World Cup?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the experience was a huge honor, and to be given the nod, have that tournament was a massive honor. It's something I'm very grateful for. I think it shows a lot of trust that they had in me. Going from 0 caps to 7 or 8 caps over the course of 1 month. So that's something I'm very grateful for, and it was a time for me to learn. How CONCACAF tournaments at the international level can go. That's what they said to me, and I certainly learned a lot. I mean, it was every game I felt like I was learning about the game management required in those types of games and the mentality you need, and learning how to go 2 days of rest, different cities, things like that. And so I learned a lot, and very grateful for the opportunity. And then as far as moving forward, the staff said it was a big step for me this summer, but they said that that's the minimum standard for me, and I just need to continue along that path, and I set a new foundation for myself, and now I need to keep building on that foundation.
Well,
Just a little bit more on that. It's been quite a month, as you said, and so prior to that, no caps, till you got in, and I wonder what you went through emotionally, because you never know if you're going to get that opportunity. You might feel like you deserve, maybe your coaching staff here feels you deserve it, but you just don't know. So how meaningful was it to get that opportunity, and how were you at all trepidatious, or were you just like, all in, I'm completely prepared for this moment?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it was incredibly meaningful. It's been, one of my primary goals for my entire life was to make my debut, and then, I was fortunate to get another 7 games after that, or 6 games after that. And so it was incredibly meaningful. And when they told me I was going to be, the starter for the tournament, 2 things went through my mind. One was I was prepared for it. Since January, I had been working with the goal of being ready to play those games, but not having the expectation that I would be playing those games. I think it's you said deserve. I think it's interesting, and it's a little. I don't think really anyone deserves to play for their country or deserves to play for the United States. I think it's too big of an honor to deserve that. I think it's, I just don't think there's such thing as that. And so, what I wanted to do was be ready in case I have that moment, and but not have the expectation that I'll be in there. Because if I wasn't, then I had to be prepared to be the number 2, prepared to be the number 3, etc. So, but again, obviously incredibly meaningful.
Maybe a better word is earn.
Yeah, earn.
As you
Yeah.
go along,
No, I wasn't picking on what you said. It was more just something I was thinking about, because so many people have been saying, you deserve it, you deserve it. And it's just interesting because I don't think that, there's such a thing. In a similar way, I don't think, there's such a thing as deserving to play for New York City. It's such an amazing city. It's tough to think about deserving it. I think it's just such an honor to represent the city, and then in the same way, an honor to represent the country.
So much has been said about the penalties, and rightly so. But for me, in a way, the Haiti mishap, but how you recovered from that and then continued on, I thought that was pretty impressive. Is that a reflection of, how, your self-belief now, maybe versus a few years
Yeah,
ago?
I don't know. Maybe self-belief. Again, just I've learned a lot in the last 2 years, and obviously the Haiti mishap was unfortunate. But like those things happen. I would much rather have not done that, and I'd much rather have it not happen. But they do happen, and it's part of the game. The response is really what is more important. For that to happen in the middle of a tournament, as a goalkeeper, you need to have enough maturity and enough presence to know that you can't go on a downward spiral. In my mind, I wanted to be able to play 3 more games after something like that happened. And it's not the time to let yourself victimize yourself and let your team down. You got to rebound right away.
And just to clarify, were you told before the start of the Gold Cup that you were getting the Gold Cup? Were you pretty much told you were?
No, it wasn't really phrased to me in that way.
Okay.
It was told to me that I would be playing before the first game. It was said, you're going to play this game. And then, it was just my job to show that I am ready for the next game.
It's awesome.
Thank you.
Can I have a follow-up on what he was asking you? We always hear about when you make a mistake like that you have to have amnesia, right? We talk about it in football, if a cornerback gets beat long, you got to forget about it and all that. It's easier said than done. How do you manage that when you have a situation like that and then have to concentrate on what's happening and not dwell on the mistake?
I think I remind myself of times when I was younger, when one mistake would lead to two, and that was the situation that I wanted to avoid, whether it was in that game or leading into the next game too. And leading into the next game, every game matters, but obviously a knockout round is very different. And so you really think, okay, this might be my last game of the tournament, so I got to go, go out on a high note. Hopefully you're not going out because you're staying in. But again, with tournaments, it's a learning experience, and certainly I learned from that moment, from that experience. But it's important to show that in a tournament where there's no second chances, knockout rounds, you are able to rebound and be ready for the next moment.
Did they tell you that you shouldn't worry about these things, that you're going to be playing no matter what, even if you do make that mistake?
No, ahead of time, there was no conversation like that, but Maurizio handled it in the moment really well. Honestly, we didn't talk about it much, because again, it's not really, it's not a tactical issue or something like that. It's just a misplayed ball, and those happen.
Onto the Zoom, we'll go with Scott.
Hey, Matt, how are you? Scott Church, Stream on Soccer. Another question about USMNT here, Zach. Have you talked to Alonso Martinez at all about that PK against Costa Rica? Because he was caught on camera giving you a very sly wink right before that kick. Have you guys talked about that, or is it all business forward? Thanks.
It wasn't so sly. No, I mean we've obviously caught up about the game, and in that moment, in the moment I didn't know that he winked at me, but it was a really cool experience to get to play against him. In the moment, I'm not someone that thinks about who I'm playing against or anything like that. I'm really I love the guy, and we're close, but he would be the first one to tell you when I cross the lines, the team I'm playing for is the team I'm playing for, and the team I'm playing against is the team I'm playing against, and I want to win and I want them to lose. So he knew that, and he would be the same way as well.
Michael?
Hey, Matt, it's Mike Andrew from Blue City Radio. Thanks for the time. 2 quick ones. First would be, is there any physical memento that you carried back with you from the tournament, from the Gold Cup? And the second would be, Do you feel after your success with the U.S. and earning that that number one position for that tournament, is your confidence level at a higher position than the rest of the team going into Wednesday's game?
What was the first question again? Sorry.
Did you keep any sort of like physical memento from the tournament that you'd say, okay, this is your first couple of caps?
Momentum. I did. There's a few things. I kept my gloves and my jersey, gloves from my debut, and then the jersey from the final. Those were the two items that I wanted to keep. And then as far as confidence coming back, no, I mean I think the whole group right now, our whole group here is confident, and obviously this past Saturday was an unfortunate one. We got to move on very quickly. It's a quick, next two games on the road, and so need to move on very quickly. And in addition to that, as far as my confidence level coming back, I don't feel any more or less confident than I did beforehand, and any more or less confident than I did 2 years ago. I mean, the name of the game and what I really believe in is staying stable, never getting too high, never getting too low. And, that's the way I approach it. That's the way I approach every game. And, when you're feeling a little too over the moon about yourself, that's when you got to get in the gym early and do work and get out on the field early and stay late and do extra stuff. And then, in the moments where you're low on confidence, you gotta remind yourself, of all the things that you have done successfully.
Jonathan?
Hey Matt, welcome back. Jonathan Mack with AM New York. You spoke a lot about learning earlier and learning a lot. What's one thing that you picked up away with the national team that you think can be applied to New York City FC as your team makes a playoff push?
Yeah, I mean, I think there was a lot of tactical discussions, and I learned, I was introduced to new tactical ideas, fluidity and how to create different shapes and things like that, as well as positionally as a goalkeeper, learning to read plays a little bit differently and things like that. So there's little tidbits that you always learn along the way. It's things that I need to add to my game, but also can't you can't do a whole 180 and just change the way you play. Obviously, you need to incorporate it appropriately.
Sam?
Hey Matt, Sam Spencer with Soccer Sheet. Thanks for the time today. Wanted to ask, first off, what was it like playing with Patrick Agyemang on the men's national team?
It was great to play with him. Obviously, he's a fantastic physical presence. Very smart in the way he conducts his hold-up play and gets him behind. And then personally, he's a great guy. Loved getting to know him more. Obviously, we met during January camp. We're quite close now. So, it was great to be with him for 50 days, 45 days.
And then with New York City FC, the all-time record against Charlotte, the team has seemed to struggle a little bit, except at home. I think it was last year you put in a really great performance at Yankee Stadium, that secured the win. But have you seen any differences in with Charlotte that makes them a particularly hard team to play?
No, I mean, not specifically. That's not to say that they weren't a difficult team to play. Obviously, they were quite good, and defensively they were very, very organized. Dean has them as their shape defensively, very solid, and it's tough to break down. It's also tough to get in behind them, even though there's space in behind them. So they do a great job of that. And then as far as our all-time record against them, when did they enter the league? 2021, right? 2022.
22.
So, it's 7 total times playing them. I think it's, too small of a sample size to really create or discern patterns from. But and obviously they've had multiple coaches over those 4 years, and so and with that, their style has changed and their playing style. So I don't necessarily think it's like a kryptonite of our team or something. It's just majority of the games have gone their way.
Thank you very much. And finally, for me, just wanted to know if there was any big experiences from the Gold Cup we didn't ask about, anything that really shone through for you.
No, I think we really covered everything.
Thanks. Good luck this week.
Thank you.
Mo?
Hey, Matt, Mohammed from the Exchange. Just wanted to ask you, I mean, with the three upcoming away matches and then taking a break from MLS and then for Leagues Cup, is there any special preparation that you guys are doing for it?
Special preparation. Wait, sorry.
As far as like preparing for away matches and then taking a break to go to the Leagues Cup?
Yeah, I mean, we're not thinking about the Leagues Cup. We're focused on this game in Orlando, and then on the back burner, obviously, thinking about the next game on the road again. But really, just has to be one game at a time. At this point in the season, you can't look too far ahead.
And another question. So we just saw Burke Rica just got transferred to Molde. Have you had a talk with him at all before he left?
Obviously Burke and I are tight, and I'm very good friends with him and his family, and I'm not exactly sure what the situation and what's going on is, but obviously wish the best for him, whether it's here or elsewhere.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.